Hi, I'm Jim Kruper, President of KioWare, and this is session 2 of our introduction to the new KioWare Server. This session will focus on the kiosk detail page. Now, you may recall from session 1 that I did drill into a kiosk and show you the kiosk detail page, but I didn't show you many details on the detail page. Well, this session is nothing but details on the detail page.
Okay, we're at the top level of Kio Cloud. This is the first screen you'll see when you log in. And you may recall from the first session that I described the various ways you can get to the kiosk detail page of the kiosk you care about. So I won't go into a lot of detail, but I will briefly mention them. For instance, if you knew the status of the kiosk, you could come over here to the device status widget and drill on the status, and you'll get a list of kiosks, and you pick your kiosk right off of that. If you knew its location, you could go down to the mapping widget and find it and drill in on it. If in fact it's one of the top 5 kiosks, it would also be in this widget, and you could drill into it that way too. Moving over here to the left in the groups, kiosk is in a group somewhere, maybe in multiple groups. So you could drill in and find it. For instance, if it was a HR kiosk, you drill into the function group, to the human resource group, drill into it, and you'll see your kiosk. But the simplest way is to merely search on it. And the kiosk I want to show you today ends with a 443. And there it is. And I've now drilled into it. Now across the top, you'll see the Widgets Dashboard. It's now horizontal instead of vertical. And you can see that the uptime for this kiosk is very, very good. There's a little bit of downtime in the 4-hour segment, but for the past 24 hours, it's been very up. The next widget over is a session count widget. So in the last 7 days, we've had 152 sessions, user sessions. And you can go back to, let's just look at the last day, 39 sessions just in the past 24 hours. The next widget over is the mapping. And well, actually, I'll just make it full screen here. And you can see it is in Gettysburg at the Gettysburg Hotel. I don't know if you can see that. But you can, you can drill in or out as you wish. And the last widget is the top 5 pages on this kiosk, and so you can just kind of go through them if you care. And again, it's over the last 7 days, and you can change that as you wish. So those are the widgets. What else do we see here? Well, we see that the client is a KioWare for Windows client, just based on this logo. We know its status is currently good, and we can look at the history. And you can see that it was in an error status for missed heartbeat back on April 8th. But you can go down through the whole history if that is important to you. It's telling us that it last heartbeated 50 seconds ago. And there's also an edit button here if you want to go in and change any of the parameters on the particular kiosk. Let's see, what's really useful here. Well, certainly if you want to get rid of the kiosk, you could click Recycle Kiosk, and it would go into the recycle bin and would eventually be deleted. Let's scroll down a little bit. So in the first session, I talked about associated groups, and this particular kiosk is in the Eastern PA group. It's also in the retail group, and it's really simple to add it to additional groups. Say this kiosk not only did retail, it did human resources too. Well, we just click, drill into the function, and select HR. And now it's also mentioned a member of that group. I'll tell you what, let's just delete it. It's now gone. Let's scroll down a little bit more to the reports section. So these are all the reports that are associated with this particular kiosk. I'm not going to go into all of them, but let's go into a couple. How about the heartbeat history report? So this is showing every heartbeat that has been received by the kiosk, and we're heartbeating every minute. And I'll tell you what, we can drill into it. This is the data that is being sent up with every heartbeat. And so this is data is useful primarily for when there's a problem that you're trying to figure out, what's going wrong. And down here at the bottom, there's arrow keys that I can drill through different heartbeats easily. And it's also worth mentioning, just generally speaking, for reports over here on the right is a dialog that lets you specify the start and end time for the data retrieval. And in this particular case, for the heartbeat history report, you can also limit what data you want to have shown. For instance, if I scroll down here, I eventually get a couple missed heartbeats. If I just wanted to see those without having to scroll down, I could just have it show missed only, run the report. And there they all are. Very easy to do. Oh, and so you can print the report. You can also download the report. It'll download as a JSON file that you can then import into Excel or your favorite database, whatever you want to do future analysis with. Oh, let's pick one more report. How about page usage stats? So this is showing what over the last week, what pages were clicked on the kiosk. So the top level one is obviously the home page, and then the next one down is product overview. And you'll see the total number of hits, the percentage of the total stay, average stay, and max stay. Now, it's currently showing the URL. I could have it show just the HTML title tag if that's more useful to you. Certainly when you start playing with KioCloud or KioWare Server, go to town and check out all these other reports. The last section here on the left is the content packages. And what that does is it shows you, and by the way, content packages is another session, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but essentially it defines what content that KioCloud pushes down to this particular kiosk, and that it's in the grab and go group, which if I clicked here, I could go in and edit that group and see more about it. But again, that'll be another session. Changing over to the right here, let's go up to the top to the devices section. Now, these are specified within the KioWare config tool at the actual kiosk, and essentially you specify which devices you want KioCloud to care about. In this case, we've selected the C:, so that's the hard drive, system memory, geolocation, and the cleanliness monitor. Now, if this kiosk had a printer or cash acceptor, well, by golly, those would definitely be monitored as well. In this case, this is all that we're monitoring. And so you can drill into, well, by the way, if any of these were in an error state, you would see it right here. You'd see a little red error symbol. They're all currently happy. Well, let's drill into geolocation. And all this is doing is reporting its lat longe. And if this device were actually mobile, you'd be able to go into the device history and see that the the lat longe would change. Now, this kiosk is static, so it's not moving anywhere. But that's the purpose of it. Cleanliness monitor is also a new feature of KioWare, and let's just drill into it. So essentially, KioWare at the kiosk can track the number of minutes since the kiosk has last been cleaned. It can also track the number of active minutes since cleaning, or the total number of sessions. And either one of those can then trigger a status change up at KioWare Server, and that's what we're seeing here. What is the current status? It's been 57 minutes since it was last cleaned. Also 57 active minutes since it was last cleaned, and there were 6 sessions. Scrolling down, manage configs. This is new for KioWare Server. A common question that we get is, when a kiosk has been deployed, how do you change its KioWare configuration settings once it's been deployed? And we currently have a couple ways to do that, but we now have a new way, and we call it manage configs. Essentially what you can do is, within the KioWare config tool within your lab, you can make the changes you need and then have those settings get pushed up to KioCloud and associated with the managed config. That managed config will then automatically send those settings down to whatever kiosks are associated with that managed config. And so you can see here that this particular kiosk is part of the grab and go managed config. And if I wanted to go in and look at it, I'd click at it, but that's going to be a separate session because there's lots to talk about there, and I don't want to waste your time now. The final group here is what we call triggers and actions. And this is new too for KioWare Server. Basically, it's the remote monitoring piece of KioWare Server. And you're able to create as many triggers as you want. So for instance, this first one is for the Eastern PA group, of which this kiosk is a member, and it's a missed heartbeat trigger. So you define how many consecutive missed heartbeats you want. That's the trigger. What action do you want to have happen? So it's going to change it to warning, and it's probably also going to send out emails and text messages. But the reality is, you could have it do as many actions as you want. You could have as many triggers as you want, then essentially have as many actions as you specify occur because of those triggers. Very powerful, and that is also a separate session because I don't want to waste your time now. But the quickest way to get there, if I really wanted to show you this triggers in action, we just click this edit button. And that is the kiosk detail page. I am out of time. I hope this has been useful, and I look forward to the next session, which is going to be on triggers and actions. I'll see you then. Bye now.